And we are back. I know, been too long, I know. Not on my best behavior, but oh well, here I am today. So, today I'm actually doing what my own message for today is, which is summarized very quickly by the concept that you should focus on what's important, not necessarily what is urgent. And the example I'd like to use today is actually, something that I did today because I'm reading this book by Stephen Covey called Principle-Centered Leadership. And, if you have been watching this channel for a very long time, you would know how I covered, or I may have made mention to Stephen Covey before because he also wrote another great book, which I've read before, very early on in my journey of self-development, which was called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Highly recommend. Maybe if I haven't really covered it, I might go through it, maybe reread the book and then do a couple videos on that. Maybe a little series, who knows, we'll see how that kind of whole goes, I guess. But in this book, one of the points he's made, quite early on, is the fact that you should focus on what's important, not necessarily what is urgent. Because if you do what's considered urgent, you'll end up just ending up in this cycle where you're constantly just focusing on putting out fires, and it will always be about what it'll be a very reactive style of I was going to say management because he's talking about management, but a very reactive style of conducting yourself and your affairs. You'll always be going from one place to the next, kind of just putting out fires as you're going, reacting as things are happening to you, not kind of acting, out your own kind of plan. Now, I thought today at work I'd apply that same, I'd try applying that, that philosophy or whatever at my work today just to see if it got results. And boy, did it, because as part of my training program that I was on, still kind of on, it's a long story, but I'm not going to go into it here. I've still got to deliver this portfolio, and there's 16 different bits of evidence I've got to kind of check off across 16 different competencies, and one of them, or a couple of them, are about doing these reflections. Now, I'm obviously someone who has no problem doing reflections because it's part of my it's part of my daily routine. Not saying I always do it every single day, but I'm used to that kind of style of writing. And I think I'm actually quite good at it because, I've practiced it for, a number of years at this point. And the thing was, I've been kind of putting off these reflections for quite some time, not doing them just because half of me was like, I just couldn't be asked to do it and I couldn't be bothered. The other part of me was like, I didn't know necessarily what to write because obviously writing a reflection on a personal kind of, general life thing is a lot easier than doing one for work, and especially when it's tied to a portfolio of evidence for your masters, it's a little bit different. There's a little bit, I'm not saying it's super difficult because at the end of the day you can still just say, hey, these are my thoughts and feelings on the thing, so fuck you can't tell me it's wrong, but whatever. And then what I decided, the way I went about it today was top of the line items for the to-do list was essentially that. I had to do one of my reflections. It had to get done today. And, regardless of what came into my inbox or regardless of what happened, unless it was like life or death or, someone's going to lose their job if it didn't need to be done. And I think that's a good measure for determining whether something is urgent or whether something is just, can be dealt with in time. Is someone going to lose their job over this? And two, is someone going to die because of it? Are we talking about life, the potential loss of life? And if that's not the case, then I think you probably in 99.999% of circumstances can instead focus on what's important. And the way I went about it was I just kind of blocked out my early hours in the day because I knew it's only a 2-page reflection. It's not like we're 10-page, like a thesis or anything. So I blocked out the hours in my day, and just dedicated my time to doing that. And even though it took me a little bit longer than I would have liked, there was a few things that did distract me for a small amount of time, but that's here or there. That's not here or there, so it doesn't really matter. But in the end, I managed to finish it, just after lunch, which was really good for me, I guess. Yeah, it was really good for me. Can I just tell you once again, I had a really great day. Awesome, thanks. You can sign off on my self-help channel. Jordan had a great day. But yeah, it really was helpful for me because, like I said, I've got these competencies I've got to finish off, so that I can finally, get my master's and finish this training program that I was on and still half on at the moment. And it's one step closer to that, and focusing on the sense of doing the thing that's important means that, like, I'm actually moving towards where I need to be, for various different reasons, instead of just kind of working my day solely around the immediate needs of others. And to add extra context to why that for me is, and probably for other people as well, is quite problematic, is the fact that my senior leadership, their priorities and the things they think are urgent or a super priority changes regularly. And by regular, I mean, from day to day, or even sometimes within the same day, the priorities can, very much change from one thing to the next, depending on what they think at that moment in time is, a problem for them or something that needs to be fixed. But things don't always work that way because things move a lot slower than we'd like. But you can't sacrifice your own personal development or your own personal objectives and goals every single time to that. And I think you can easily end up in a cycle where you end up just kind of following and reacting to whatever kind of, thing is that pressing at the moment. Because when it comes to my competencies, the reflections aren't even the hardest one. There's this linked data analysis I've got to do. Don't worry about it. But it's, it takes a lot of effort to do something like a linked data analysis. There's a lot of things that go into defining the research question, so on and so forth. And really that's the next goal for me, is to start really nailing that down and spending the time on doing the thing that's important, which is that. I mean, I still have plenty of time. I still have till the mid of next year to have it fully done. But I want to know that, by the time I'm starting to get into 2024, or, a fair way into 2024, I really want to be at a point where I'm not stressed out trying to, pull everything together to finish this evidence and this portfolio. I'm sure I still will be in the end, but the more I can get done now, it is better and is the important thing for me. And yeah, I think that's just something to keep in mind, because even with all the things, I've learnt, or, all the different self-help or things I've come across in my life, it's still, no one's immune to falling into, vicious cycles of, underperformance, really. And not saying I haven't been doing a good job at work, at my work, they think I'm doing a great job, but it's more just a personal standard that I feel like I haven't been fully living up to. And that's something I'm gonna try and remedy with this different approach. I know it's something that's so bleedingly obvious, but I guess that's the nature of self-help, is it's reminding ourselves of those seemingly bleedingly obvious things that we tend to forget, throughout the rigors of our day-to-day life. So yeah, I guess think on that one, sleep on it and pray on it, and tell me if you end up doing something important instead of urgent, and tell me how that makes you feel, because I feel pretty great today. I feel like I got a lot done, and I'm going to have a great weekend because, I've got trips planned. So lucky me, right? Good thing I ended off on a high note. See you next week. Bye.